My mom doesn't know that she's about to be on camera with me. Come on, come over.
Try to walk straight.
Walk straight. Come over here. We're going to film together. Meet my mom. This is my mom. Y'all have probably seen her before, but if you haven't seen her before, well, you haven't been on camera with me in years because before COVID was the last time you was on camera with me. So you get to meet my mom. I'm gonna tell you the story. I was thinking about this the other day. I would not be who I am and where I am in my life today if it wasn't for my mom. And she didn't know she was gonna be on camera. She was downstairs reading a book or something right now on the couch. But I would not be who I am and where I am in my life if it wasn't for my mom. I remember I had just moved to LA and I was struggling financially. And she had come to visit me in my little apartment. I don't think I had much furniture in there. I did not. In my car that I couldn't afford anymore. It was rough. And she came to visit me and I was really struggling. I remember I was getting an award. That's why you came out there to see me get this award. And when I was getting this award, there was a red carpet. I couldn't afford a limousine to drive into the red carpet. So I drove myself. I realized I need to get my car washed. Because I'm going to drive myself into the red carpet, which is kind of like weird. Who's driving himself onto the red carpet, right? But I was like, I need to get my car washed. I couldn't afford the car wash. So my mother had to pay for my car wash, okay? And I got my award. And on that same trip, I remember I was taking a nap. My mother was there and I wake up and all my mail is organized across the table, right? I had piles and piles of mail because I was so overwhelmed. And all the mail is organized across the table. And I was like, what happened? She's like, I organized your mail. These are the bills that need to be paid. This has already been paid. These are on electronic payments already, so you can just tell them to stop sending you the mail and so on and so forth. And I was like, oh my God. And she said, here's the thing. You need help with your business. You struggling? And I can help you. All right? I said, I can't afford to pay you. She said, don't worry about it. Figure it out. Pay me when you get paid and we'll figure it out from there. And it was because of that I was able to grow my businesses. Throughout the years, if you emailed me, it was her emailing you back, okay? your warm fan messages, it was her. And she would run the team, she processed the contractor paperwork, processed the payments, did everything. My mother was the wheel within the wheel that allowed me to be successful and to be who I am. And so I wanted to do this video because I think that a lot of cases, people always see me and they say, oh, Malcolm, you must be so motivated. You must be so this, you did that, you did the other. What we often don't get to see is the wheel within the wheel, the people who sacrifice for us. You know, my mom is a social worker and a therapist by trade. You know, it's not my mother had overflowing amounts of money to be able to help me. It's not she wasn't working 2 and 3 jobs at a time while still working, help me with my business. But you did that. Mm-hmm. What made you help me?
Well, you needed help.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bottom line. And when your children need help, I feel, you help your children. I mean, I helped your brother and sister too.
He did. So my brother, he owns a barbershop. He's got 7 little ones and a stay-at-home wife. Well, she's not stay-at-home fully anymore. Now she's doing her business. Mm-hmm. What's she doing? What do you call it?
So I don't know what the name of it is, but she coaches women through their pregnancy. Mm-hmm. She does not deliver the baby, but she coaches you through the pregnancy so that you can have the most holistic, natural, well-informed pregnancy.
Yeah.
She does not necessarily, she's not a supporter of hospitals, but if you choose to use a hospital, then she will help you to understand how you can make your voice heard.
Yeah.
Because the reality is a lot of women die giving birth.
A lot of Black women have a very high mortality rate during childbirth, at least in America.
Yeah, they don't listen to you. Mm-hmm. Her preference is for you to do it at a birthing center, but whatever your choice is, she helps you to prepare your body so that the labor is not as intensive.
So we got my brother and his wife. You got my sister, who's a dancer. She's on tour right now with
Kim, the artist Kim.
Yeah, and she has worked with Nicki Minaj, Beyonce, Chris Brown, Remy Ma.
Yeah, there's an African artist.
Brandy, I think.
Yeah, Brandy.
Yeah.
There's an African artist.
Cardi B.
His name starts with an M.
Yeah, and so, you know, I brought up me and my siblings because what I realized the other day when we were driving back to the house, I was like, all of us are self-employed. Mm-hmm. We're all self-employed. I think we're all very functional, healthy people. We live independently, live very functional, healthy lives, and we all do very well within the professional spaces that we are in, right? There's no lagger of the group.
No.
And what we all have in common is my mom. You know, we all are very different personality types, but you were able to raise us each in a different way while still in a similar way that accommodated who we were as individuals, yet created successes out of us. So how did you do it? So for the parents out there who are watching, how do you make your kids a success? How do you do it? Because all of us are successful.
So I think first and foremost, I looked at each one of my children, and I'm a Christian, so I'm gonna use Christian language. I looked at who God had purposed them to be. With Malcolm, he's always had a heart for business and for visioning, and we used to argue about this, and I'm gonna tell this story. He was a little kid, and we would drive by a public park. And I'd say, oh, this is a lovely park. And he would go, we could develop it. We could put this type of building on here. We could have this kind of business. And I was like, what is wrong with him? But that is where his heart's always been. He's always liked talking. He always liked...
I was getting in trouble for school for talking.
Oh, yes. But... Okay, really quick. So when Malcolm was a little boy, he's still a very handsome man, but when he's a little boy, he's really, really cute. And teachers would love him. But then as he got to like the second, third grade, they no longer loved his mouth. And so I would get phone calls, at least on a weekly basis, if not even more, about how Malcolm went toe-to-toe verbally with a grown teacher. And I would kind of be like, y'all supposed to be taking care of him at school. Why do I have to keep having to step in? Because him and a grown person are going back and forth, and he's like in the third, fourth grade. So eventually we took him out of public school.
Best decision ever for me.
We took him out of public school and put him in very small private schools. Particularly the first one he went to, it was old Christian women.
Ooh, Miss Hunter. Miss Hunter. Now, see, my mother at the time was a social worker working at the prisons, right? She was working at the prisons. So, I mean, she made good money, but wasn't like a ton of money, but my mother sacrificed to send me to private school. But there was these old black ladies, and you could not get away with nothing, okay? You try to talk back, they hit you if they needed to. Not say they hit you off, but they get you together. They got a ruler, got a something, and they would get you together. But yes, it was the best thing that ever happened.
But they also, Miss Hunter would bring them collard greens for lunch.
She cooked for us every week.
They nurtured you like a grandmother.
Yeah, it was.
So I put them in those types of environments. And my daughter has danced since she was 3 years old. Okay. And from a little girl, she used to always say, if I can't dance, I don't want to breathe. So I understood, and she's a great dancer. She's always the best. She's always danced with girls older than her. But every year I would say to her, because she would dance all year long, I would say to her, do you still want to dance? And if she said yes, then we kept up the lessons. One year, she was probably about 10 or 11. I said, do you want to dance? She said, nope, I only want to take African. It's true story. I only want to take African dance. I said, okay, fine. But where she took it was where she also used to take ballet and modern. That lasted 2 weeks because she saw her ballet teacher work with a class and she said, I want to dance again. So she's danced all of her life. And so when it came time to graduate from high school, we went up and down the East Coast auditioning for colleges, dance programs. But then she came to me and said, I don't want to go to school. I just want to dance. And my thinking is, this is her gift. You know, and a dancer, your body, if you get hurt, it's over. So why not let her dance? She can always go to school when she's 40 if she wants to.
Going nowhere.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. Let her dance. Most of my friends thought I was crazy. A lot of my family thought I was crazy. But that's a decision we made. But I did tell her if she was going to do it where we lived in the DC area, they don't pay a lot, if at all. So why don't you just take a community college class? And she said, okay. And she promptly took the classes and failed every last one of them because she was dancing.
And then what we did was we teamed up together to make her move to LA. And so she was out there, Mom was out there visiting me in LA. And Nia, my sister, we called her up and basically told her, your car is going to be shipped to LA on XYZ day. If you want to drive it, you may want to go out there too. Right? So we forced her to move to LA. And she lived in my apartment with me for a little while, and then eventually she got her own apartment with some friends. And it worked out really well for her. But let me ask you this. You know me better than anybody else. So if you had to say your vision or your hope for my life moving forward, what would you say your hope for my life or your hope for me would be for moving forward?
So my hope for you is I just want you to be happy, for real. I want you to be happy. I want you to have a partner who loves you and you love them. I want you to have a family. You know, you have family, but I mean, you know, to be able to raise a baby, you know. But for you, I really want you to be happy. You're already successful, as far as I'm concerned. I know people could say you could be even more successful, but I really want you to be happy. That's all I really want for all my children.
Be happy.
Yeah. And whatever that looks like, because happiness looks very different for everybody, you know. But that's what I really, really, really want.
I think my hope for you is similar in that I want you to be happy, and I want you to keep doing the things that you enjoy that allow you to keep expanding yourself and not limit yourself, which you don't do. Not limit yourself to living like people think you should live based on being a woman of your age and so on. My mother in a given year can go, I mean, last year was where? Indonesia, Morocco. She goes everywhere and she'll go by herself, you know, go with a group of people that she doesn't know. But I admire that about you, that you really don't limit yourself in any way, shape, or form, and that you live your life to the fullest. I would not be living in another country if it wasn't for my mother. You know, I never had aspirations really to live anywhere else, but I was willing to even consider it once that time came for me to consider it, because it was like, well, my mother travels constantly. I see all her pictures. I didn't travel a whole lot, we were young. But, and by the time you did a lot more traveling, I was an adult, not on my own anyway. But yeah, my hope for you is that you keep on living in an expansive way, because by you living that way, I think that is what inspires me, Nia, and Neil to do the exact same thing. By you living your full life, we're inspired to live our full life.
And I want a husband too.
Oh, and a husband. I'm sorry, I left it up. What traits are you looking for?
Let's put down the top of the prayer list.
What traits are you looking for?
Okay, I want a man who likes to travel, has a sense of adventure, who is intellectually and emotionally stimulating for me. So we can talk about things. He's emotionally stable, and somebody who makes me laugh. Because I like to laugh. And I think if we get all of that, you couldn't help but love me.
Yes, you're gonna love it to death. Thank you for being on. My mother didn't know. I was coming upstairs, I go downstairs and switch clothes, and she's like, I guess you're done for the day. And I was like, come on up right now. So she didn't know what she was coming up for.
I sure did.
Love you too. Bye.